Hey guys, Dr. Josh Axe here with Jordan Rubin. Welcome to Ancient Medicine today. We're going to be talking about how to overcome depression and anxiety naturally. And if you have ever struggled with or know anybody with just feeling down in the dumps, maybe lack of motivation, depression, anxiety, even bipolar disorder, we're going to be going through the best foods, supplements, essential oils, some herbal remedies, and a whole lot more that can help you lift your spirits and mood. And this is so important for so many reasons, Jordan. I know that there are a lot of diseases today that are tied to our mood. In fact, I think another thing we could even talk about is self-esteem being so low with people. But depression, anxiety, these are huge issues that are plaguing America today. And we're going to be answering your questions about these, getting into a lot of info. And also let us know the city you're from, the state you're from, the country you're from. We want to say hey to you right now before we jump into the info. But Jordan, to start us off here, how bad and how many people are struggling with depression and anxiety today?
The numbers are staggering. In fact, I once heard that there are double-digit percentage of adults that are on various antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications.
Wow.
And those are just folks that are medicated. But if you think about a lot of what's going on in the news, so think about terrorist attacks, think about a lot of these other issues, the folks that typically are causing this great harm to people have a history of depression, anxiety, and are on medications. But I personally, and we haven't talked about this off the air, but there are two family members of mine that were seriously depressed that committed suicide, and they were siblings. They did it years and years apart. My wife has a first cousin that committed suicide. I know growing up, my mom had friends, and this is a serious topic, folks, and I wanna make sure you understand that while we try to bring lighthearted messages, engage the audience, this is serious. And I know several people that have lost loved ones, even children, teenage or adult children, to suicide because they didn't understand the signs of depression. So if you're watching today and you are suicidal, you have serious depression, we do believe that food can be medicine. We do believe that herbs can help. But if you need help that is beyond that, if you need spiritual or emotional help, talk to somebody, seek that help. There are organizations and ministries set up to help you. If you're somebody who typically struggles with mood swings, you've got low serotonin, so you feel the blues. People use the term "I'm depressed," but that's not always what we're talking about here. But if you're someone who needs serious help, needs prayer, etc., seek that, and then add some of these nutritional interventions. And also, there are some great therapies, simply exercising and moving. The challenge is depression can be characterized by low motivation, and it's hard to do anything. But you're right, self-esteem, and really it's beyond that. Self-hatred is at the root of chronic depression because you believe the world will be better without you. You believe that you're just not that important. Let me tell you this, folks. It's easy to look at us and say, oh, you two have it all. You do these programs, and Dr. Axe has all these followers, and you've written books and have companies. Folks, we deal with major issues. And I can tell you, whether it's family, whether it's business, there are times where we are on our knees praying, where we have to confess the promises of God, where we have to talk to people. Everybody deals with ups and downs. But understand that if you're watching, you are a valuable person. You are created for a purpose, and that's really the first key to getting your life back. That being said, depression's real. It definitely can be caused or exacerbated by the environment, and your mind or depression can cause physical symptoms. I like to say it's psychosomatic and somopsychotic. So understand this is serious. We're here to help, and we have some great tips to transform your brain from the inside out and help with depression, anxiety, mood swings, even bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder. I've seen all of these improved with health and wellness techniques.
Yeah, and we know, as Jordan's talking about, there are millions of people struggling with these conditions right now. And hey, take a minute right now, help us spread the message. We're gonna share with you right now on how to use food as medicine, lifestyle, some other things emotionally and spiritually to help overcome depression, anxiety, and all the conditions Jordan referenced. So take a minute right now, hey, punch your share button, click your like button, and help us spread this message that it is so important that we start really focusing on improving our mood and our emotions with food, as well as these other things that Jordan is talking about. These things are absolutely critical. We want to give you guys a shout out who are watching here now as well. And Jordan, I want to say this as well. Something that happens, I think, really, really often too, is postpartum depression. I mean, there are things like that is one of the most common I know that I saw in my clinic on a regular basis. And so even for, so depression can be something somebody struggled with for years, or sometimes I know that, I can have a depressing day or week. And so, just focusing on it both in the long term and short term is good. So a few comments here and questions and where people are from. Christopher says, hey, from Eagan, Minnesota. Hey, Christopher, thanks for joining us here today. We have actually getting a lot of comments here. Raneem says yoga and mind-body treatment is good. Also says they love listening to music. Daphne is watching from Lyndhurst, Illinois. Hey, Daphne, thanks for joining us here today. Ninfa from Santa Monica, California. Hey, Ninfa, thanks for joining us here today as well. Well, guys, we're going to dive right in. A few other people here. Amber says hi from Gonzales, Los Angeles, and Sarah Hardy from Salt Lake City, Utah. Hey, Sarah, thanks for joining us here today. So, Jordan, let's dive right in. We want to talk about some of the best foods to help overcome depression and anxiety. And let's go ahead and start off here. What's the number one food?
Well, before you write this, let me say that when you are depressed or down in the dumps, which is characterized by low serotonin, a hormone that is really produced in multiple places in the body, but primarily in the brain, when you're depressed, what do you go for food-wise?
Sugar, carbs.
Sugar and something sweet. Sometimes you mix it in with fat, but think about ice cream and cookies, chips. The worst thing you can do for your brain and your mood is to artificially boost your blood sugar, which momentarily boosts your serotonin, and then it's down. That's why SSRIs are the number one class of antidepressant medications. They're selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which means it stops the serotonin from going down, but it comes at a cost. So if you think that getting to the bottom of the ice cream container, or if you think that a bag of cookies or chips is going to solve the issue, it only makes it worse. Then you feel bad about yourself, you feel sick. So that being said, don't go for what you think you want. Someone said, stressed shouldn't be desserts spelled backwards or something like that.
Yes.
So number one, we've said this before, but I think you can't go wrong by consuming wild-caught fatty fish. And let's start with salmon. Salmon has 3 powerful nutrients that boost your brain. Number one, omega-3 fats. And we're going to talk specifically about one omega-3 that is really, really good for depression that is only available in a small amount of supplements. We're going to tell people about that at the end of the program. Omega-3 fats, vitamin D, which is really important. So many people suffer seasonally from depression, seasonal affective disorder, because they don't get enough sunshine. Vitamin D and astaxanthin, which is an antioxidant that crosses the blood-brain barrier. So salmon is an amazing food for your brain, period, but particularly for depression. People that consume fatty fish are less likely to be depressed.
Absolutely. The next one we have here are walnuts. And, Jordan, we talk about this every week, or it seems like I bring it up, but certain foods that look like organs within Eastern medicine support that organ, or certain, parts of an animal can support that area. We talk about that with bone broth, with joints, and liver, with supporting your own liver and detoxification channels. But a walnut literally looks like a brain.
It really does.
When you look at it. And it's packed with vitamin E, which is actually a fat-soluble antioxidant that's very nourishing to the brain and heart and full body, as well as it also contains omega-3 fatty acids. Now, different than the omega-3s found in salmon. Salmon is high in EPA and DHA, whereas walnuts are high in ALA, which are a different type of fat, but still an omega-3 that can actually support overall brain health. Not to mention, walnut is also high in certain minerals and vitamins which support the brain as well, including many B vitamins. It's great there as well. So walnuts are a fantastic food. And Jordan, one of the things I love doing is, just doing a handful of walnuts with some raisins, things like that, like a snack during the day, or adding some walnuts to a smoothie, a great thing to do.
And we've talked about this before. You can overeat nuts. The best way not to do it is to crack them yourself. And some people are looking at me in your 20s, you can crack nuts? Yeah, they don't come cracked already. They actually come in a shell. So if you crack them yourself, the added benefit other than a good workout for your forearm is you eat less because it takes more work, right? So walnuts are great. Blueberries are a great brain food in general. The anthocyanins that make them blue power the brain. You can say that about some other dark colored fruits, vegetables, grains, and seeds, but blueberries have been shown to boost brain power, and the sharper your brain, the less likely you are to suffer from depression. And then I would say the fourth food will make some people excited.
Oh, absolutely. Number 4 here is dark chocolate, which contains mostly cacao powder. And cacao is actually one of the most mineral-rich foods out there today in terms of its magnesium content, its manganese content. It is very, very high in these minerals. Actually, it's high in iron. It is really, really high in minerals as well as antioxidants. We know antioxidants support the brain. We know these minerals are important. So cacao and dark chocolate. And Jordan, I believe that cacao also has other things in it that actually help lift the mood as well.
Absolutely. L-theanine, mild amount of caffeine, and some other polyphenols. So cocoa, cacao, dark chocolate's really good. Look for 70% dark or greater. I would actually say 80 or 85. Sure. You know how you know if it's dark chocolate without looking at a percentage? It should have 4 or more grams of fiber. I bet you didn't know that, but your chocolate bar could have fiber in it. Milk chocolate simply means there's a lot of milk and more sugar and less actual chocolate, and white chocolate doesn't have cacao at all. They do use some cocoa butter, which is good for the brain too.
Yeah.
But get as dark a chocolate as you can. Organic dark baking chocolate in recipes is great, or raw cacao, but that's one of the reasons we're drawn to chocolate when we don't feel great in our mood, but you want to avoid excess sugar. So these are 4 foods that are great. Remember, carbohydrates, sugars, starches are your enemy when it comes to depression and anxiety. So we're here today on the Dr. Axe page, Ancient Medicine Today, tackling depression, 7 secrets to stop depression. If you're someone who has mild or moderate depression, if you've got bipolar disorder, if you've been diagnosed with conditions that involve schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, this is for you and for those you love. This is an epidemic. I have many friends that are on SSRIs, anti-anxiety medications. Wouldn't even know it. I mean, they don't seem, quote, depressed, but if you're dealing with this, don't be embarrassed. This can help you. But here's something that is really important. I've learned this and I need to practice it more. I'm convicted before I even say it. Count your blessings. It's so easy to say, this stinks, that's bad. I almost died twice and overcame multiple incurable diseases. What right do I have to complain about anything? But I still do.
Yeah.
If you count your blessings, I know that's cliche, count your blessings, name them one by one, but say them out loud and stop talking about how miserable things are. I really believe, as the Bible says, death and life is in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
To speak and to eat good.
Great advice there, Jordan. We have a comment here from Daisy. She says, LOL, laugh out loud, Jordan Rubin is so funny. I'm glad someone thinks that.
Yeah, you should have seen the last episode. We've got some more planned. But
all right here. I agree, Jordan. You are pretty funny.
Thank you.
Diane says 85% dark is best. She loves that. Raneem says that he gets 90% dark chocolate with 5 grams of fiber. It looks like there as well. So it's a great comment here. By the way, if you love dark chocolate, let us know right now the type of dark chocolate you love. Maybe it's a certain type of dessert. In fact, Jordan, this week, my mother-in-law's in town and she loves dark chocolate covered berries. And blackberries right now are really ripe. So we've been doing dark chocolate covered strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries for dessert every night, which has been absolutely awesome.
I mean, making a chocolate coating is something that takes work. I mean, that's not just an easy recipe. So kudos to you.
It was coconut oil, dark chocolate bars. You warm it up in the skillet, and then we just pour it over the. Dip the berries in, and then we put them in the fridge. Yeah, it took a little time.
You know what is a great quick recipe? You've probably had this before, and I'm sure it's on the draxe.com site, but making a chocolate mousse with avocado and a little bit of coconut. So if you take coconut oil or coconut cream, the yummy stuff on top of the can of organic coconut milk, put some cocoa or cacao powder, some honey, and some vanilla extract, and you blend it with avocado.
Oh, yeah.
It's really creamy, and it's a great brain-boosting food because fat is good for the brain. You're a fathead. Think about being a fathead. Fats are good for the brain. That's a really great, I'm hungry now. That's awesome. People think avocados are only for guacamole. You're wrong. They're for dessert as well.
Absolutely. Great stuff here, guys. Sarah loves making smoothies with raw cacao nibs. Absolutely delicious. Great job, guys. I'm loving these recipes you guys are posting here. So we're going to jump into herbs here. I want to mention this. So right now, I'm here with, this is Jordan Rubin. I'm Dr. Josh Axe. We're talking about natural ways to beat depression and anxiety, as well as other brain and mood disorders. And we're getting into the best herbs, foods, vitamins, supplements, essential oils, all in this program today. And Jordan, one other thing, you mentioned medications earlier. I remember looking this up just 2 years ago, and 3 of the top 5 selling medications today are antidepressant or anti-anxiety medications. Absolutely. I mean, this is something that millions of people are suffering with every single day. So, hey, we're about to jump right now into the top herbs, spices, and essential oils. Help us spread the message right now. Hey, take a minute and punch your share button and click your love button if you're loving this live episode right now. So, Jordan, let's dive into herbs. What are some of the best herbs for fighting depression?
Well, I'm going to throw out some that are not so obvious. And then, of course, some that are. Passion flower is a good one. And passion flower is not consumed very often. It's got sort of a sulfury smell to it. Also really good for sleep. Passion flower is really great. And when it comes to the very well-known herbs, when it comes to depression and anxiety, I think the most commonly prescribed herbs or recommended would be St. John's wort, which you are writing right now. St. John's wort has been used very effectively, and even medical websites say that it is good for mild to moderate depression, but it can cause some issues. I believe photosensitivity is one. So I think when you're on St. John's wort, you need to be careful about getting too much sun. And kava has been popular. Kava can cause some challenges. Now, one thing that's interesting, Josh, out of all the herbs out there, it seems like the ones you have to be most careful of, herbs and spices, are those that are recommended for depression and anxiety. You need to be careful not to overdo them. See a qualified herbalist. Make sure that you're using the recommended amount. But these are 3 really, really good herbs. And I would say the best, and albeit it's a controversial herb, is hemp or cannabis. Now, folks, we've talked about this a little bit before. There is a battle going on all over the country. Medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, and just so you understand, I've never smoked a thing in my life, maybe some salmon, but I know that doesn't count. Understand, folks, that hemp, and I'm not just talking about hemp seed, but the stalk, the leaves, the flowers, it's a powerful medicinal. It's been bred over the years to contain a high amount of THC, which is the psychoactive part or the hallucinogenic part of marijuana. Cannabis or hemp, if you can find an industrial hemp, and they're now more and more available, look for CBD or cannabidiol. It can be really good for anxiety. And look, if it comes to either taking an SSRI or if you're in a state where cannabis or marijuana is legal medically, go see a doctor, because if you're going to consume an herb versus a drug, you're much better off. But understand, folks, I'm not suggesting using recreational drugs to, quote, get high, but cannabis or hemp is a powerful plant for your brain, particularly to help with anxiety and depression.
Well, and one of the things, Jordan, I know you know this, but a lot of people don't realize is, as you stated earlier, a lot of the marijuana today has been bred to be very high in THC, where we know that CBD really balances those effects out. And so that's really something that people are unaware of, that if you're doing something that's more CBD dominant, that it has a very different effect on the body, very brain supportive.
Absolutely.
So that can be
now,
huge.
2 more herbs, and these I would recommend no matter who you are, no matter what you do, and I take these every day. The 2 adaptogenic herbs that are huge for depression and anxiety. Rhodiola is one. Rhodiola rosea, or Arctic root, has been powerfully attributed to brain health and overall stress reduction. Rhodiola rosea is an adaptogen. So when I mentioned some of these, kava, St. John's wort, passion flower, need to be used in moderation. Arctic root or rhodiola, not so much. And then next to it, ashwagandha. If you're not taking ashwagandha every day, if you're not using it in a tea or taking a supplement, you're missing the boat. If you live today, you need ashwagandha. I mean, I take it every day. I have for years. It's powerful as a stress reliever, and it is mildly antidepressant. I mean, it's awesome. So we got a lot of herbs here, but passion flower, St. John's wort, kava, more likely to be used therapeutically. Cannabis or hemp, same thing. But rhodiola, ashwagandha, if you're depressed, deal with anxiety, episodic depression, you need to be on those adaptogens.
Yeah, and I'll say this as well. If you look at other countries, as we talked about in the East, they consume adaptogens every day. I mean, we are rarely getting adaptogens in our diet versus if you look in other countries, I mean, ashwagandha, rhodiola, astragalus is a huge one. We've talked about tulsi on a regular basis as well. Ginseng, I mean, they are getting adaptogens every single day in the form typically of an herbal tea or concoction or decoction and that type of thing. So again, getting these can be great at naturally fighting depression. Jordan, I want to look at what comments we're getting right now. Then we're going to jump in and talk about spices and essential oils to fight depression naturally. And let's see here, a few other comments here. We'll see. Where can you get these herbs is one of the questions here, Jordan. Or what do you want to look for when buying these herbs? Is organic important?
Well, if you can find organic bulk herbs and make your own tea or infusion or decoction, directions will be online very easily. If you're going to look for supplements, look for organic and standardized extracts in a brand you can trust. These are really, really amazing.
Great. Okay, other questions here. Let's see here. Do probiotics help with anxiety?
Probiotics are amazing for depression and anxiety. They have an indirect effect, but since your gut is the second brain, absolutely. We're going to talk about probiotics in our supplement secret, which completes the 7 secrets to stop depression. So if you're watching now and you want to know what to do to stop depression in its tracks, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, or just episodic depression because of life, this is the program for you. Tell everyone you know right now to jump on board because all of us feel a little blue now and again, especially going into winter.
Yeah. Question here from Beth. She says, I have an autistic son with PTSD. He is on Prozac. Is there anything else he can take? Beth, I do want to mention this, that, you know, with what we're teaching here, if somebody is having a severe depression, we absolutely recommend working with a qualified healthcare professional, whether that's a psychiatrist or an MD or a Christian counselor that's really experienced with these things in an in-depth way. We definitely recommend working with somebody with that. With your child with autism and PTSD, the first thing I would recommend is really focus on diet. You know, I think a diet that's very high, very similar to a GAPS diet, something that's very easy to digest, gut-friendly. Jordan, I know that I've seen this in working with a lot of autistic children. A lot of the reactions and things that they're having neurologically are starting in the gut.
Absolutely.
So I really think focusing on a diet that's going to help heal and seal the gut lining is really important. So chicken bone broth soup with some organic chicken, chicken broth, vegetables like carrots and celery, that's an ideal meal. Doing a smoothie in the morning with some bone broth powder, some collagen powder, maybe a little bit of coconut milk and some fresh berries, but foods that are very gentle and easy to digest, low in sugar, getting rid of the processed refined grains really is going to help the body. So those would be my first recommendations.
Absolutely. And if somebody is dealing with autism and ADHD, a lot of these recommendations can help. Most of these herbs, particularly passion flower, St. John's wort, and kava, are not recommended for children. Cannabis, particularly CBD, can be. So there are a lot of great results of children using hemp products that I've heard of.
Absolutely. Jordan, let's go ahead and jump into spices. Number one, it's probably one that no one's ever heard of before. I'm just kidding.
Turmeric.
All right, there we go.
Now, turmeric is great for so many things, but there is solid research on turmeric, the yellow-orange spice that makes curry, and depression. So you want to consume turmeric in powder form, season your food with it, in teas or in supplements. Turmeric is amazing for all things brain, and it's the first spice that I recommend. Number 2 is saffron. Now, it's interesting. Turmeric's been referred to as yellow saffron.
Oh, yeah.
Saffron is a great spice for depression, but do not use too much. Too much saffron can actually push you the other way, but a little bit of saffron can be really good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have nutmeg on here, and nutmeg has a lot of different benefits in supporting the brain. Also, one other thing to mention here that's unique about, and clove and cinnamon and other herbs fall into this category as well. Nutmeg is actually very good for your digestive tract and also very good for your blood sugar levels. both there as well. And so again, nutmeg, another spice there that's got a lot of benefits.
Absolutely. Nutmeg also, use in small doses. I think they found that if you use a few thousand milligrams a day or as much as a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg, that is too much. So use nutmeg in seasoning. I love spices. I mean, you could literally spend an hour talking about a single spice, and every one of them has shared benefits, and then there's unique benefits for each. Spices are awesome. This is a really easy way to help begin to overcome depression by spicing up your diet.
Question here from Alan. He says, is cayenne pepper also good for inflammation and for these issues, but specifically inflammation?
Hot peppers are good for almost anything. They're great sources of vitamin C. They drive circulation. There's not specific information that I'm aware of on cayenne pepper and depression, but in the old days, people used to think cayenne pepper did everything. I remember, back in the early naturopathic days, I think my parents had the old adage, just rub some cayenne pepper on it, it'll cure anything. So it can be really good, but these three spices in particular stand out in their ability to modulate brain chemicals.
Yeah, when Jordan was growing up, if he fell and skinned his knee, they didn't say rub dirt on it, they said rub some cayenne on it.
And when I called someone a name, they washed my mouth out with cayenne pepper, not with soap, which made a lot of sense.
Today, they'd probably call child services for something like that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right, we have a few comments here. Somebody asked, Jordan, can IBS be linked to depression?
From someone who had inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, I can tell you I was absolutely depressed. I didn't smile for about 2 years. I wasn't suicidal, but I did want to die. I mean, I did not want to live in this body anymore. And so when you are in severe pain, and people with IBS, I've seen years ago videos where they're just doubled over in pain. I was like that as well. Some are milder cases, but absolutely nausea. Think about the gut. Who smiles when they're nauseous? Isn't that the worst feeling on the planet? So when your gut hurts, you can definitely be depressed, but the same underlying cause, which a lot of times is damage to the gut lining, to your microflora, can be linked to brain issues. Why? Because the gut produces more serotonin than the brain.
Wow.
The gut is the second brain, so it absolutely does that.
Yeah, Jordan, as you're saying, I mean, it is so critical that we really take a look at this gut and brain connection. I mean, they are absolutely connected there. So nourishing the gut can really help nourishing the brain. And listen, if you're watching this, we know it can happen so often that if you're struggling with a health condition, it can be so discouraging and depression and depressing. I know that I've struggled with health issues myself. I've had family members, and I know that when you get to the point where, and even for us, Jordan, especially, I mean, we have spent and dedicated our lives to studying nutrition and health, and I know that we've come across different health issues ourselves that praise God, He's helped us overcome over the years, but that can be so discouraging. So just know if you're a person watching now and you are suffering with depression, anxiety, bipolar, even other conditions, just lack of self-esteem, lack of motivation, shame, some of those different conditions, just know that it can take time to heal. We're not saying that, hey, take passion flower today and all of a sudden everything is going to be rosy and merry and cheery. We know that it can take time to heal, but just know that, if you're struggling with something, seeing a good counselor, getting connected to good community and people around your life is so important. And then adding these foods and doing some of these natural practices. If you're doing all of these things and changing your lifestyle together, we really believe you're going to see some improvement in your life.
Right, and if you're going to do some of these, if you're going to take advantage of some of these secrets, believe they're going to work, even say they're going to work. Self-talk is so important. I remember when I was ill for 2 years, I finally found what I felt was going to work, and I said I'm going to get well now. And it's so important. So be excited when you're taking an herb, when you're drinking tea, when you're eating salmon or walnuts. I know this sounds strange, but what if you just said, this is going to help me and it's going to help my mind? Just that alone makes a huge difference. Complaining and discussing negative things only feeds negativity. So give that a shot. Now we're going to talk about the fourth secret to stop depression: essential oils. There's a lot of good essential oils. I'm going to talk about the quintessential essential oil for anxiety and depression. It's lavender. Now, lavender, I'd put right next to turmeric. Almost every program we talk about how amazing lavender is, but it is hard to smell lavender and not feel better. If you're in a field with lavender flowers, you just feel better. Much like when it's sunny out, you feel better. When things smell good, your mood is elevated. And lavender is really an amazing essential oil to put all over the place. Diffuse it. Put it on your hands and smell it. Put it on your neck. Put it on your feet. It's just really, really awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. And one of the issues with depression is lack of sleep. And I think anything that can help you sleep better is going to help you feel better. I don't know about you, but I've had some tough times, and I know that I can tend to ramble on, argue, stay awake at night. But when I wake up in the morning, I almost always feel better. What is the common saying?
It's true.
Go to sleep. Get a good night's sleep, you'll feel better in the morning. And so it really does happen, and lavender is a great way to start. Wow, these are a lot of good oils for depression.
There's a lot on here, and we'd love to hear from you guys. What are your favorite essential oils for supporting the brain and mood? Is there an essential oil that you use on a regular basis to reduce stress, to lift your spirits, to motivate you? I'd love to hear from you, and we're going to give you guys a shout out here who are taking essential oils and use these on a regular basis as well. So I'm going to mention a few of my favorites here. Ylang Ylang is one that is fantastic. I really think Ylang Ylang of all the oils is one of the most uplifting in terms of mood. It's known as one of the oils of joy, really bringing joy to your life. So this is a great one. In fact, Jordan, I know that in the Psalms or Proverbs, they mention oils of joy actually in the Bible, some specific oils there as well. Orange oil. And I'll mention this with lavender and citrus. These are two oils, Jordan, that I know they use locally here at Vanderbilt Hospital, actually for patients who are about to go through surgery and use it with nurses. So actually there's even hospitals today, medical hospitals, that use essential oils and diffuse them in the air to actually reduce fear upon patients going into surgery,
that's awesome.
Which is pretty incredible. We know here rosemary is one of the most beneficial for the brain. Rosemary contains rosmaric acid, which is very good at actually supporting memory and brain health. You know, I think a lot of times, Jordan, one of the things that can cause people to be flustered or brain fog is that, well, that's one of the things that can cause other emotional issues. So rosemary is great for that. Geranium and rose, for years, both of those floral oils, and most floral oils in general are linked to improving mood, libido, motivation, and then vanilla as well. Actually, vanilla is known as a vanilla absolute, not necessarily an essential oil in most cases, but vanilla itself, the scent of it, is very uplifting and great for the mood as well. And I want to mention this as well. There are actually certain essential oils, Jordan, that have been linked to overcoming specific emotions and feelings. And I was just reading a book recently that was talking about specifically the oil of Cyprus helping with forgiveness and some others. And it's actually kind of unique. We know Jesus was crucified on either a cypress tree or potentially an olive or cedar tree, but cypress, it's kind of interesting and really supporting the body and getting to that place. But again, essential oils, a great thing to use for natural medicine. Let's see what everyone else here, actually I'm gonna have to refresh here and see what everybody is using here in terms of essential oils here as well.
And while Josh is doing that, let me remind you that we are here on Ancient Medicine today discussing 7 secrets to stop depression. If you're dealing with depression, anxiety, even severe conditions, bipolar, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, or you just have episodic depression, you have a lack of motivation, you just don't feel good about yourself, you need to tune in. We've got 3 secrets left. These are powerful principles to transform your health in so many ways, and it's not too late to let somebody tune in. We're going to get to some really great tips in just a moment, and make sure to share this with your friends. You know what? Most people don't find out about others who are depressed until it's too late. You'd be surprised at how many friends and coworkers and loved ones are on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. These secrets can be used often along with those medications or other mental and emotional and even spiritual therapies to transform your health.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next thing here. Medicinal mushrooms, Jordan. So what are some of your favorite, and how are, you know, a lot of times we've been covering a lot about mushrooms here recently and all of the benefits. Talk about your favorite medicinal mushrooms, and also how specifically do they support the body?
Medicinal mushrooms are fungi. They're not herbs, they're not spices, they're not oils. And get used to it, because they're going to be here on our board during Ancient Medicine today, because we want more people to avail themselves of these powerful fungi that around the world are being studied to improve your health. So mushrooms are really good. Number 1 is truffle. Truffle helps to naturally stimulate the pituitary and boost hormone levels. A lot of times, people that are depressed have low levels of testosterone or an imbalance in progesterone and estrogen. Inhaling truffle, like an essential oil, works with olfaction, with the stimulatory effects of nerve endings inside your nostril to naturally boost testosterone. So many times, people who are depressed have low T, as they say.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So truffle. What's number 2 here, Jordan?
Number 2, and this is so good for anything with brain, lion's mane mushroom.
Oh, yeah.
You know how you mentioned that certain things look like organs and they are effective? Well, lion's mane, or Hericium erinaceus, actually contains compounds that help you regrow certain nerves in the brain. So if you're dealing with depression, anxiety, if you're dealing with ADD, autism, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you need to consume lion's mane in soups. It tastes kind of like chicken or fish. Make it, saute it, use supplements, make teas. It's awesome.
Love it. Number 3?
Number 3 is reishi. Reishi is the mushroom of immortality. I read a great article yesterday on reishi and depression. It's an adaptogen that helps your body resist stress, and it will help you smooth things out in your life. Reishi is awesome for so many things. You know what's great about these secrets to stop depression? They all have side benefits instead of side effects. I could go through this and tell you how your gut's going to improve, your immune system. You'll have less allergies. You'll have better skin, all while helping you feel better.
Absolutely. So Jordan, let's jump into the top nutrients for depression specifically. Number 1, vitamin D?
I think so. I think if you're low in vitamin D and you're depressed, I have great news for you. People say, what do you mean great news? I'm low in vitamin D. That's great because you know how to correct it. Think about it. If you're thirsty, you know how to fix that, right? Vitamin D levels need to be optimal, especially going into the winter, to feel your best. And that goes for thyroid, adrenals, you name it. So folks, if you're low in vitamin D, take 5 to 10,000 IUs a day of a fermented vitamin D to get your levels up. Get sunshine while you can. And B vitamins are really, really important. So you're quickly writing there, still with great handwriting. Folate and B12. I've seen people use about 50 to 100 times of the recommended daily amount of folate therapeutically for the brain. Folate and B12, in fact, B6 folate and B12 are linked to reversing depression. And if you've got high homocysteine levels, which those 3 vitamins work to reduce, put B6 up there, then you likely have brain issues. So folate, B12, and B6 help boost serotonin in the brain.
Yeah, you know, these actually specific vitamins, Jordan, are also very important. We know for iron levels or overall for fighting anemia. It's important for energy levels. So if you've got low energy and you feel like you may also have some issues with your blood, which is causing that, these are very important vitamins and minerals as well. So vitamin D3, folate, B12, and B6, all crucial here. And Jordan, let's jump right into supplements.
Okay, well, I have to add a couple more. Magnesium. We talked about this yesterday, but magnesium is really, really important for your brain. You need more magnesium. Most people don't get enough. You need it in food, which is hard to get, supplements, and you can even use a topical magnesium oil combined with essential oils to be absorbed. You know what's a great recommendation is to use magnesium oil, spray it on areas where you've got lots of skin surface, stomach, if you can rub it on your back, but the stomach's easy because you can rub it on there and it's really, really great. And then the other one, we'll talk about this in supplements. Let's talk about supplements that are actual neurotransmitters. Number 1, I would say, is GABA or GABA. I get confused between the kids' show and the nutrient, but GABA is a neurotransmitter that you can take. It's a B vitamin-like substance that can help boost your mood. Another one that is very important is EPA. EPA is one of 2 well-known omega-3s, DHA being the other. You know what's interesting? DHA is often thought to be the brain booster because we see it talk about mental and cognitive function in children, right? DHA. EPA in high amounts has been studied to be as effective as common SSRIs or antidepressants. Now, what you want to look for is an EPA supplement with very little DHA and take about 1,000 milligrams a day. Folks, this is one of those times where a natural substance can be a medicine.
Oh, yeah.
So if you find an EPA, which is an omega-3 fat that is low in DHA, I believe either in combination with an antidepressant or by itself, it will be huge. So GABA, EPA, probiotics. Remember, the gut is the second brain. If you've got any kind of issue, really if you live or breathe, you need a probiotic. You know, they've linked antibiotic use with higher rates of depression.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you need to antidote an antibiotic? You know, because 2 negatives equal a positive. You need a probiotic. And lastly, this is, some people swear by this, SAMe.
Oh, yeah.
SAMe, which is has some sulfur compounds related to it, capital SAM dash lowercase e, is a great supplement for mild to moderate depression. People rave about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these things are crucial as Jordan's talking about. We know balancing out those levels of inflammation in the gut, supporting the brain with EPA. Probiotics is crucial. You know, we talked about these B vitamins earlier. In order to absorb and digest a lot of these things, you've also got to have probiotics. And so again, you know, we recommend finding a good probiotic that has SBOs, that's soil-based organisms, in that probiotic supplement are some of the best for helping clear out the bad stuff, helping supply or helping grow more of that good and beneficial microbes in your gut there as well. So these are absolutely some of the best. Jordan, let's see if we have a question here or two. Mary says, how do we decide what of all of this to take and how much? So Jordan, one of the questions here is, if you can't do everything, what are some of the most important things in each category someone should start with? So let's say, what are the top, I mean, I think we can cover food here, but the top 2 herbs, the top spices, top essential oils, let's go through that quick.
Well, this is really important because if you're depressed and you have challenges motivating yourself, the last thing you want to do is 72 beneficial compounds added to your diet. So let's break it down. If you were going to do or implement 3 of our secrets or even sub-secrets, let's just talk about that. So if we look here, I would suggest, and this is going to be the easiest, let's do the easiest. Consume 1 serving of dark chocolate every day this week.
There you go.
Twisting your arm. 1 serving of dark chocolate, 70% or greater. Someone said they did 90%, 85%. Consume chocolate. Remember, we gave a great recipe. Baking chocolate powder or cacao powder, organic is best, mixed with avocado, some coconut cream, honey, and vanilla. There you have it. So have 1 serving of dark chocolate, true dark chocolate, every day. Remember, look for 4 to 6 grams of fiber per serving. So that's that. And I also want to encourage you to go out and find, we'll pick one, rhodiola, either in supplement or in root form where you make a tea out of it. You can get dried rhodiola in a bulk herbal shop or order it online. So we're going to do Rhodiola Tea Infusion. Take rhodiola, a tablespoon, put about 16 ounces of hot water over it. It's a little bit astringent. Add some honey if you want. Rhodiola tea, 1 serving a day. And you pick the third because we got 2 great ones. We're going to do chocolate and rhodiola. That's simple. That's affordable. What's next?
I'm going to recommend using Lavender Essential Oil. There are clinical studies on it. It's easy to get your hands on. Look for a certified organic essential oil that's labeled as a dietary supplement and take a soaking healing bath at night. So what you're going to do is you're going to add in about 20 drops of lavender oil. You can cover yourself in it. And then either use magnesium oil or just Epsom salts. Epsom salts are not very expensive. You can order them on Amazon or pick them up at your local drugstore. And just do 1 cup of that in the bath, some lavender oil, and soak 3 nights a week. I think if you can do that, as Jordan's talking about, change your diet, get a little cacao, start doing an herb like rhodiola in your diet, start using lavender oil on a regular basis. Those would be the top dietary things. And I think from an emotional end, Jordan mentioned something earlier when he had said, count your blessings. I mean, I think that is something, Jordan, that is so transformational, doing that first thing in the morning, first thing at night, or first thing in the morning, last thing before you go to bed at night. And Jordan, I read a really interesting study on depression here. This was probably about 5 years ago. And they went and they've actually found that one of the number ways to overcome depression naturally was by serving others.
Oh, yeah.
And the article, they actually went and found that people that were struggling with depression, when they volunteered and actually went out there and did some things in the community and just started serving, they said it took their mind, and there was a lot of, this was done by MDs and psychologists, and they actually found that when they were able to take their mind off the things they were struggling with in their own life and focus on helping someone else overcome their struggles, and actually greatly lifted depression. And so it was, an incredible study.
Absolutely. And music is really, really good
Love
as well.
music.
I have a good friend who created a music product called Whole Tones, and we've talked about that before. His name is Michael Terrell. Whole Tones is a healing music project or frequency project, and listening to that can help. Classical music, sometimes while it's not musically therapeutic, your favorite music just makes you smile. The other day, we had, for one of our children's birthdays, we called it a sock hop, but we all wore socks in like a gym-like environment on that type of a floor, and we listened to old music. I don't know why, sometimes, 80s to me is therapeutic.
Of course, we know.
But let's face it, folks, we're visual. Some people are audio in terms of how they connect, so colors, music. You know what? I know we have so many good things. I'm going to add a fourth, okay? So we talked about three. We talked about chocolate, rhodiola, lavender. That bath is awesome with magnesium. If you're needing a lift, find some grass or a beach, take your shoes off, and spend 30 minutes walking around outside. That connection to the earth, earthing or grounding, has been shown to reduce cortisol levels, which high cortisol, low DHEA is linked to decreased serotonin. Same with blood sugar. It's all connected. Folks, we're here today helping you stop depression with 7 secrets. We told you to be thankful. And I'm thankful that you're here. I'm thankful that what I went through in my health journey is able to make a difference in your life. I'm thankful that Dr. Josh Axe has welcomed me so I can share some of this with you. And we're thankful that you give us a reason to wake up every morning and be excited about our day. And so we really believe in you, and we believe you were created for great things. Start letting truth and life come out of your mouth, and make sure good things go in, and you will start to feel better each and every day.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And we just want to, again, I want to echo what Jordan said and just say, hey, thank you. We're so grateful for you guys being here and watching us today. And also, hey, don't forget, Jordan and I are going to be here all week, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. And we so appreciate you as well being on mission with us and helping us spread this word. That alone, by getting this message to other people, you might just be helping transform someone's life. So we just want to say, hey, thanks for being part of our program here and what we're doing here on a regular basis. And again, apply some of the things we talked about this week. We'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. This has been Jordan Rubin, myself, Dr. Josh Axe, with Ancient Medicine Today. We'll see you tomorrow. Hi, Dr. Axe here. I want to say thanks so much for checking out this YouTube video, and also don't forget to subscribe if you want to get more great content on things like herbs, essential oils, natural remedies, and how to use food as medicine. Also, check out more of our content on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.